Okay, in this video we're going to look at factoring trinomials. So remember, trinomials have three terms. So we're looking at something in this form. And notice that I see an x squared. I don't actually have a number bigger than 1 in front of that. So that's always going to be a 1. To factor trinomials where the leading coefficient is not 1, that's a little bit harder, and we're not going to get into that in this class. So first thing we do is, if we need to, we will rewrite this in descending order. So we want the squared term first, the x term in the middle, and the constant at the end. This is important. We always want to check and see if there's a GCF to factor out, because that's our first rule of factoring. Then from there we're going to do our factor x. Right, remember, so the product goes in the top, the sum in the bottom. And then once you get the numbers to fill out your x, that will help you with your factoring. So basically what we're doing is we're doing FOIL backwards. All right, so let's take a look at number 1. We have x squared minus 3x minus 10. It's in descending order. And notice I don't have a GCF. I don't have a number I can take out of 1, 3, and 10 except 1. And I don't have x's in all three terms, so no GCF. So I'm going to go straight to my factor x. Okay, so this number is going to be your product. Okay, so this number with the sign goes right here. All right, so that'll be negative 10. And then your middle coefficient right here, that's going to be your sum, and it's going to go here. So that's your sum. All right, so now it's just like we did in the last video. We want to find numbers that multiply to be 10. So our choices are only 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. Now 2 times 5 looks better for me. We're getting 3. To get the sum to be a negative 3, my larger number needs to be negative, and then my smaller number needs to be positive. So those add to be a negative 3, they multiply to be a negative 10. So now these two numbers are going to come right over into our parentheses. So we're going to set up our FOIL backwards. So to get x squared, that's going to be our first term. So remember, our FOIL is first. This is a combination of outside and inside, and this is last. So in the first spots, I need numbers that multiply to be x squared. That's always going to be x and x. So in the last spot, this is where we put our plus 2 and our minus 5. Now, if you want to check it, you use FOIL. Okay, so I'll check one in a minute just to show you that it works. But the outside and inside will come out to be a negative 3x, and then the product at the end will come out to be a negative 10. All right, so for number 2, again, we don't have a GCF, so I can't take that out. I'm going to put my negative 9 as my product and my negative 8 as my sum. So one way to get 9 is 1 times 9. Okay, to get those to add to be a negative 8, I need a minus on the bigger number. So a positive 1 and a negative 9. So remember that these numbers here are going to go straight into my parentheses. So I'm going to set up my two sets of parentheses. Remember, here's my f from my FOIL, so that has to be x and x. I'm going to put a positive 1 and a minus 9. I'm going to show you the check on this one. So if you want to check it, you would FOIL. So x times x would be x squared. My outside would be x times negative 9, so negative 9x. The inside product is positive 1x, and then 1 times negative 9 is negative 9. So notice this number should always match this number. And then when we put our middle terms together, we're going to get that negative 8. So if we put that together, we would go right back to where we started. All right, so number 3, again, I don't have a GCF to take out. I'm going to put negative 12 in the top. Now notice I don't see a number here, so this is going to be a positive 1. So I'm looking for numbers that multiply to make 12 and add in some way to get 1. So I can go 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. So if I choose 3 and 4, Okay, if I make the bigger number keep the positive sign, the smaller number gets a minus, then those would add to be a 1, and they would multiply to be a negative 12. And again, it doesn't matter what order you put that in. So you can write your answer this way, or you could write the x plus 4 first. Now the signs have to stay the same. So the 4 has to stay positive and the 3 has to stay negative, but it doesn't matter which one you write first. All right, so let's try number 4. I don't see a GCF to take out. Notice this is a positive 15, which means our signs are going to be the same. So I've got 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. 3 and 5 add to make 8, but if I want them to be a negative 8, they have to both be negative. All right, so then we get a product of positive 15 and a sum of negative 8. We move that over into our parentheses, x minus 3, x minus 5. All right, so for number 5, we want numbers that multiply to make 6 and add to make 7. Okay, so that's going to have to be 1 and 6. In this case, everything is positive. So this factors into x plus 1 times x plus 6. And again, you can FOIL it just to check and make sure that you do get the same thing back. All right, number 6, we want a product of negative 12 and a sum of 4. Now I have my factors of 12 up here. I'm looking at 2 and 6. Okay, I know my signs have to be different because I have a negative 12. So if I make the bigger number have the same sign as the 4, that one will be a plus, that one will be a minus. Then they would add to be a positive 4, they would multiply to be a negative 12. Notice we have t's instead of x's, so that will be t minus 2 and t plus 6. Okay, now number 7, for this one I want you to rewrite it a little bit. Notice there's no x term. So we're going to put an x term in there. So we're going to write x squared plus 0x minus 25. So I want numbers that multiply to make negative 25, but add to make 0. So remember, this only happens if they're opposites. So I would need a negative 5 and I would need a positive 5. So this would be x plus 5 times x minus 5. And again, it does not matter which one you write first. All right, so I will do the rest of the examples on the next video.